What up, everybody? It's the Reveal Podcast, back at it again with Ren's World. Um, so this is like a little bit different. Me and Kay didn't even discuss this. I don't even know if I'm gonna post it on the Reveal or if I'm gonna post it just to my personal page. But I went ahead and put the intro in just in case she wants to drop it onto the podcast. But it's just gonna be a little bit different. It's just basically gonna be me talking. I feel like I want to kind of like dig it deep to like me and my life, things I never really ever discussed or talked about, and maybe just try to give you a better insight of me as an individual and who I am. So, I guess the beginning is the best place to start. I'll take it, I guess, as far back as I probably can remember. We should start at the beginning. Well, the best, like the first memory I have is pretty fucked up. I believe the majority of my childhood tends to be suppressed. Me and my sister had a really bad childhood. I got an older sister. She's 2 years older than me. So we're in the same age bracket, basically. We had the same mother and father. And I remember us always being, like, close, or as close as we could have gotten because we had for each other. It was just me and her. And my mother and my father, they had a very abusive relationship. It was very toxic. My father did all types of drugs. I mean, basically, he was a crackhead. And of course, my mother did drugs too. But he was very abusive. I have a lot of beginning memories of being trapped in closets. Not literally, but figuratively, but literally. Like, me and my sister used to be locked into these closets. And I believed that it was my mother's way of trying to keep us safe. We would be in this dark closet, and once our eyes would adjust, we could see, like, the light that would come underneath the door, and we would be able to see somewhat of each other through the light from underneath the door. But all we could really hear was screams, glass breaking, thuds. It just constantly always sounded like it was a death match. It just sounded like they were always fighting, and she was always screaming, and it would last for hours, and then it would be silent for what felt like forever. Sometimes we would be in those closets for damn near, it felt like days. And sometimes when we weren't in the closet, we would be locked in our room from the outside. I remember we had just bunk beds in there, and it was just nothing but 2 bunk beds, 2 mattresses, and we would, like, piss and shit underneath the bunk bed because we couldn't get out to use the bathroom. So we made, like, underneath the bed, our, like, bathroom area. It was actually pretty sick, but I do remember this one time where we were stuck in there for felt like days, and nobody was coming to get us. And I remember our grandfather busting down the door. I remember being scared because I thought it was our father coming back, and all we heard was the door being, like, busted into. And once a body came through the front door, we didn't hear any voices. We just heard, like, moving around and I thought, like, trying to find something. And then we started hearing a knock at the door, and I heard my grandfather's voice, and I just felt like there was hope. He had busted down the door, and had got me and my sister out. And I think he waited in that house with a baseball bat for my father all night, and he never came back. And I don't know where my mother was at that time either. But that was one of my very first memories as a child. And from there, it just kind of got worse. Like, and not that it was not worse before that. My father molested both me and my sister when we were babies, damn near until we were, I think I was 4 or 5, and my sister was 7 or 8. So CPS had got involved because I guess me and my sister were like in the bathtub touching on each other. Not like that, but you know how kids are once they've been molested, they do things, or once they've been exposed to sexual activities, they start to have these signs like wet in the bed. I believe I pissed in the bed until I was probably 10 years old. I just like always was pissing in the bed. And I remember just our mother being absent, but sometimes would be in and out of our lives. But she felt absent whenever she would come back around and get us. When she had these visitations, we would stay the night with her and her boyfriend that she had at the time. And she would take us to this railroad track and let us take a bunch of change that she had in her pocket and put all of the change on the railroad. And we'd sit there until the train would come. And then after it came, she'd let us get all the coins that had been like smashed. And I just felt like that was the coolest shit ever because it changed the structure of the coins, and I never like seen something like that happen before. It felt like a nice distraction from the world. It felt like even though things can appear to be so strong, anything, there's always something that can come and change that. I don't know, it just made me think about a lot of different things. And it never lasted long. She would take us and drop us off somewhere with a trash bag full of our shit and dip. But we would be going back and forth between both of our grandparents. But it was always me and my sister. We were never truly separated until I was like 15. Well, like 14-ish. But I chose to leave. I had just left and got tired of my mother's boyfriend would put his hands on me and such, like in like this way that made me feel like I was less than a person, because we never had a relationship, but the most energy and the most emotion that he ever gave me was when he was trying to beat my ass. But he never put his hands on my sister. He just would always like yoke me up or rip me up out my sleep or throw me down some stairs or just a bunch of random shit. And this is when my mother had got me and my sister back in her life, where we were actually staying with her. Because for the longest, we would just bounce around everywhere. And we really didn't know when the fuck she was going to come back, if at all. I believe at that time I completely forgot about my father. I didn't even really truly think about him at all. But I always thought about my mother, and I always wondered where she was, and I always wondered like why she like didn't love us. Mainly me. I mean, I knew she didn't care for my sister either, but I always felt this different feeling from her, like she just didn't want me, almost like she just hated that she had me. And I'm used to think all these things like, what if my father raped her or forced her to have the baby? Because me and my sister are 2 years apart, so 2 years later, you decide to still have a child with the same man that is abusing you, and then turn around and hate the baby. It made me feel like maybe she just got forced to have me. And because I guess I favored my father more than my sister did, it made me feel like that was another reason why she hated me. She would just never talk to us. She would never say, I love you. She wouldn't hold us. She wouldn't hug us. And when she did talk to us, it was about cleaning and scrubbing the baseboards. She had this crazy side of OCD that just was relentless. Like, she always swore she smelled dog piss, even when we didn't have dogs. And she'd give us toothbrushes and baking soda, and we would scrub the baseboards in the house from top to bottom. It just felt like we were like her servants in a weird way. She has anxiety and PTSD and multiple personality disorders, and man, the list goes on. So now that I'm a little bit older, it makes, well, not a little bit, I'm older, so it makes sense, I guess, her mindset. But as I was growing up, I was very lost, and I was very confused, like, with just my existence. I just felt like, I don't know, I just felt abandoned, and I felt like, how could somebody that is supposed to love you so much and bring you into this world, how could they not, one, protect you, but also not love you? Maybe the not loving is what warranted the lack of protection, maybe. But, well, guess we'll leave it there on chapter 1. Let me know if y'all want to know some more about me. I'm thinking I'm just going to dig in deep, start telling you guys story times, and tap into maybe just chapters of things that have happened in my life. I guess we'll call this chapter 1, because it's the closest beginning memories that I can think of. There's definitely going to be trigger warnings in here. I probably should have said that in the beginning, so I do apologize. But this is, I guess, as real as it gets. I'm not trying to make anybody sad. I'm just trying to make you guys aware of my life, and maybe if you know what I've been through, then it will help you understand, like, the person that I am today, and why I am the way that I am, and do the things that I do, why I try to be so loving even though I've dealt with nothing but hate and sorrow and loss. I just want you guys to understand that not everybody is who you think they are.